Hey guys, welcome to another video, Purple Political Talk here. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the most recent 2020 presidential election results and take a look at what the states still outstanding, what could happen with this election, and at this point in time, who will become the next president of the United States. But before we get started, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on post notifications to get up to date with our latest content and to be up to date with your latest election news. So let's get started. At this point in time, we have an electoral map which puts Vice President Biden ahead by a margin of over 50 electoral votes, 264 electoral votes for the former vice president to 214 for President Trump. Now, what states do we have outlying, and what are the chances of them going to one party or another at this point, handing the election to them? So, right now, we have still votes outstanding in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Alaska, and Nevada. So, at this point in time, Biden wins any of these states except Alaska because that's 3 electoral votes, and essentially that state is expected to heavily go Republican. They just haven't called it for some reason. However, former Vice President Biden leading in Nevada. If Nevada sticks like it is right now, Biden wins the White House with 270 electoral votes exactly, and we might be in for one of the closest elections in American history. Now, with the states that are still outlying, what are the results that we're seeing now? How can those change? And who essentially is going to win? Right now, for example, in Pennsylvania, this is a crucial state. This is a state that Trump must win, along with North Carolina and Georgia and Alaska, to win this election. In Pennsylvania, Trump is currently the leader, 50.2% to 48.7%, and has a lead over almost or a little bit under 100,000 votes. This is close with still 12% percent of votes we still need to report. This at this point doesn't look too encouraging for the president, considering we're still missing a lot of ballots from Philadelphia County and a lot of these very Democratic counties. However, we still do have a lot of ballots missing in general statewide. It's not like in Philadelphia, for example, you have only 40% of the vote, and that's where this big root of the 12% of vote is missing. But all across the state, even in those very solid Republican counties, which President Trump is currently carrying by some 50%, margins like that, at this point in time, those races are still missing. So with those votes coming in, at this point, the state of Pennsylvania does not look too encouraging for President Trump, considering where their votes are missing, a majority of them. However, President Trump has a big chance of winning Pennsylvania. The Republicans have self-officially called the state of Pennsylvania for themselves. At this point, I think they might win there, and it's going to be an election surprise. Now, going on to the next state, which is North Carolina, I think this state could have been called a long time ago, although within the last couple of hours, it started to narrow down a little bit as we get more votes from these very big Democratic counties. At this point in time, the president leads in North Carolina 50.1% to 48.7%, only a around 1.4% margin of victory for the president at this point in time. With 94% reporting, I think it's going to be pretty tough for Biden to win here. However, it's still a possibility. And keep in mind, the president needs to win all of these places. North Carolina, if it flips, it officially ends all dreams of the Republicans. And the Republicans are very serious about the states. One, because it's a close election where every single electoral vote might count. Even in Nebraska's 2nd congressional district, that might have completely changed the race. Keep that in mind. That is something that's very interesting. Every single electoral vote matters. That and here 15 of them, President Trump could be carrying very soon. I think that out of the states that are still outstanding, other than Alaska, Trump has the biggest chance of winning in North Carolina, and then Pennsylvania, then Georgia, and then probably Pennsylvania. He has good chances of winning here in these 3 states. However, things are bound to narrow up as we get more votes for his Democratic counties. And this is where Georgia comes in. Over the last couple of hours, we've seen this race narrow down from over 80,000 vote lead for the president to 40,000 votes, 20,000 votes, to where at this point in time, former Vice President Biden is only 12,000 votes behind. Or actually a little bit less. It's actually less than 12,000. It's about 12,000. About 12,000 votes less or behind President Trump. At this point in time, this is very crucial. With votes outstanding in some Democratic counties, this might be an issue. We are already in for a recount in Georgia. Remember, in Georgia, it is state law that you must win over 50% of the vote to not have recount. And at this point in time, it looks like this presidential race in Georgia is going to a recount. At this point in time, it's very close. Biden wins here. Again, it ends the map for Trump. Biden just has to win in one of these states to win the presidency. Even if Pennsylvania doesn't go, if Georgia, for example, doesn't go, Biden can still become the next president. Now, going on to the state of Nevada, this is going to be one of the most crucial factors that we see during this election. And surprisingly, this state is a lot closer than a lot of people expected when we came into this election season. A lot of people expected the state to be around 3 to 4%, at the most. For Biden in the worst case scenario, even up to like likely margins of 10%. This race right now, as it stands, 0.9% is the difference between Biden and Trump at this point, and about less than 12,000 votes separate both candidates. Biden's lead in the state of Nevada has definitely gone up a little bit, but however, it doesn't guarantee him anything at this point in time, because although he has a big lead right now, or a small lead, but percentage wise, he has a decent lead. That does not guarantee him anything. And then we're also seeing and dealing with the possibility of Trump suits in Nevada. And we're seeing all over social media, again, there's a very big disinformation campaign on both sides of ballots that still haven't been counted. A lot in Nevada, and the Republicans are bringing up concerns of voter fraud. Now, this could be their ticket to take the elections to the court. And I'm not going to say whether I agree or disagree with that. However, what I will say is that Nevada is going to be a crucial part of this election if Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia all go to President Trump. And again, the winner of Nevada is more than likely than not going to become the next president of the United States. And at this point in time, it's looking like it will be Joe Biden. Now, the race hasn't been officially called, and we still have to call a lot of these Trump states in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. If those states hold, that would put this electoral map on a very sticky situation, as that would put the president at 268 with the state of Alaska. So with that on the map, if Biden just wins Nevada and Trump carries everything else, Biden wins this election, 270 to 260 electoral votes. Now, that is why President Trump needs to win in Nevada. And even if Trump wins in Nevada, it's going to be an insanely close election. To the point, even worse at this point in time than we saw back in 2000. It's going to be a close race. And at this point in time, we must understand that. And truly, what really is helping out Biden, what really stops our country, or has the possibility to stop our country from going into pure chaos, is the district in Nebraska's second congressional district. If that district would have gone red, our country might be ready for one of the craziest elections of our history, with a 269 tied electoral college. That would have been an interesting scenario to see play out. I wouldn't have been excited for it, because that would have been a very bad thing for our country in general, where there's going to be a lot more division and a lot more hate amongst the political results. However, that didn't happen. But every single path to victory for the president is very minimal. He only really has one, and that is winning all of these states. Biden has tons of paths to the presidency at this point. And at this point in time, the results really do favor Biden. Again, it is the election. Anything can change. And this election really has been a surprise of how close it is. A lot of people expected this race maybe go like a couple days, but it's been 2 days almost since election day and the first results started coming in. However, this race is closer than a lot of people thought in general, even without quote unquote red mirage, which we didn't see yesterday. So as of right now, this is what we have from this election. And currently Biden leads President Trump 264 to 214, with right now the possible electoral map being anywhere from staying the same, it is 217 all the way to a Trump victory to 270. And then Biden does have a lot of possibilities and pathways to win this election at this time. And I think at this point in time, the best case scenario for former Vice President Biden is right now an electoral margin of 320 20 something electoral votes, around that margin, if he ends up carrying Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. But yet again, who knows what will happen? And at this point in time, only time will tell who will become the next president of the United States. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please give it a huge thumbs up, like, subscribe, turn on post notifications to be up to date with our latest content. Hope you enjoyed the video, and goodbye.